Welcome back, and in this video we're going to create a part that's got a draft on it. And what I mean by a draft is that it has a tapered edge that's happening here. So you're looking at the top view here and you can see how it looks like it's offset if you're kind of working on AutoCAD. But in actuality, when you're looking at this on the top side, you'll see that draft top surface and the bottom. But the way we have to approach this in Inventor is that we're going to create half of this, so we do have our 25 here. And then we're going to wind up mirroring this to get our 50. Our draft angle, that's going to be defined once we get to the extrusion, and everything else should be self-explanatory. So let's switch on over to Inventor and get started on this one. Alright, so working on Inventor, this part happens to be a millimeter part or a metric part. So I'm going to select the new icon here. Now, sometimes this one, depending on your application, if it loads wrong, you can always select the drop down next to it here. Let me see, and I double clicked it, and go to part. Now this is going to open up whatever your standard template part is. So if you created this with a English version, out of the box, it's going to assume that you want to create this using inches, millimeters, and feet. So you're going to give it a few seconds, and then it will load up. So once it's loaded, in order to switch it over to inches, millimeters, or whatever other units that you want to use, you're going to select Tools here at the top. Then you're going to go to the Document Settings. And once this dialog box appears, go ahead and select Units. And then change it from inches to millimeters. Once I hit the OK button, everything now that's going to be created will be in millimeters. I'll select here under 3D Model, and then I'll go to the sketch. Now this one, I know that the top view is going to be the easiest view to create on this one, so therefore I'm going to select the XY plane. Once I select this plane, it should rotate and orient itself. What I like to do is I see that top is here and the front face will be facing on this side. So I'm just going to rotate this. Now if your words top are reading correctly, you don't have to do this step. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of create an eye shape right around this yellow or this center point here. So I'm going to start with the line command. I'll go down. And I'm just trying to make sure that it locks it straight. Come here. I'll click. And you see I get the perpendicular. And I'm just kind of creating an eye shape. In this case, you can leave these in line with each other so they do track off of it, and we will get that collinear effect. That's going to happen. And here at the top, I'll wait till I get the dotted lines here. Likewise here. So you see that I am getting all of those collinear O-snaps, for lack of a better term, or constraints is actually what I was meaning to say. So I'm just kind of taking my time and making sure that I create this eye shape with all of these in line with each other. Alright, so once I have this shape created, now I can go ahead and put my first dimension on this. And I'm going to start with the super long dimension, which is going to be 100 from this line to this line. So I'll go to Dimensions, click on this line, and then this line, and then when I place the dimension, type in 100, and everything should scale to that. Alright, next I'm going to go ahead and do my dimension here, which is 70. I'll add a couple of more dimensions. I'm going to dimension from this line to this line. When I place this dimension, this would be 40. This dimension line here is 30. We have a distance between here and here, which is sitting at 20. Alright, so now those are all the dimensions that I have on this, and I can kind of take a look and see something that I do need. I need this line here and this line to be basically equal to each other. So how do I want to do that? There's a few different ways that I can approach this. The easiest way, so I can kind of keep things going right, is that I can project in this middle line here, and then I can make it symmetrical, and then that'll hold this to that. as well as once I put my dimensions on it. One other option that you might want to do is also use the equal constraint and constrain these lines to each other. So that one will work as well, but kind of doesn't matter which way you're going to go at this. So if I choose equal, I can select this line and then this line. Now I have two of them needed, two more dimensions, and what they're always in reference to is sometimes this center point. Well, most of the time it is. So when you usually get to the last two, it wants to know where this shape is in reference to the center point. So when I select the dimension here, I'm going to go to dimension from this line to the middle. I'll place my dimension. Once I place it, I'll select the 100 dimension, divide it by 2, go ahead and hit enter. And then I'll do the same on this side. So I'll go this line here to my center point. I'll left click and place the dimension. I'm going to select my 70 dimension here and divide it by 2. Alright, you can see here at the bottom everything is fully constrained. And at this point you're going to have to decide, do you want to put the fillets on now or later? It's kind of customary to, if you have multiple fillets, is to use the fillet command outside of this. But there's absolutely nothing wrong if I add the fillets on here. But in my case, I'm going to wait and put the fillet commands on when I get out of this command, just so that I can show you how to use that and have, multiple fillets. So let's go ahead and take a finished sketch. I'm going to zoom back just a little bit. Go ahead and extrude this. And then depending on which way you want it to go, it's going to either go up or down. And in this case, it's going up. Type in 25 here. And then I'll go ahead and give it a draft. So what the draft is underneath is the advanced properties. It's asking for a taper. And depending on how you're going to do this, you can type in, 95. And that's what's on the paper. And you're going to see that this tries to taper in. And it's giving me an error. So I could try to change the direction and see if it's going to fix this. And now that I just thought about it, so it's going to be hard to taper this with the sharp corner. So that's going to actually lead me to go ahead and put the fillets in the actual command. So let me jump back to the sketch, and then I'll put the fillets in, and then this should work well. So I was trying to show you the multiple fillet command, but not really a good example to do this in. So I'll go to cancel. While my sketch here, I'm going to double click on the sketch icon. Now it'll bring me back to the sketch. I'll use the fillet command. Type in 20. I'll go ahead and put my fillets along here. Same here. Doing the 2 at the bottom here. And then I'm going to change to the 10. So I'm just going to change this to 10. And I'll start working on my inside. Now I know this is one of the things that I was going to kind of be worried about when I created this, is that when I start putting these fillets on, it tries to keep these two lines the equal. So that's what's the one that's driving this one crazy, is the two equal constraints. So you can see that I got something extra going on here. Let me kind of back up and undo back, just to kind of show you what I mean. So when I put the fillet on this one, it wants to try to curl it, and then it screws up the equal constraint on both of these. So what you can do, and this is strictly optional, and I know this is kind of taking a little bit longer than what you wanted to do, but I wanted to kind of show you a few more different things. So if you got some constraints that are actually blowing up or messing up your parts, it's okay to go ahead and delete those constraints. So for example, this equal constraint is happen to be the one that's causing this to do an error. So I could select this constraint. So I'm going to left click on it, and then I'll right click, and then I'll just go ahead and delete that. So now when I go ahead and put my fillet on, go ahead and make it 20. I'm sorry, 10 in this case. I can select this line, and this one, and this one. I'll keep going on with these. And now you should see that I still have that one dimension needed. So what I can do now is I can come back and add the equal constraint afterwards. So now you'll see that it is fully constrained here in the bottom. So that's one of those things that if you kind of understand how you create this, it'll make it so much easier whenever you want to modify it. Let's go ahead and finish sketch, and everything on here will work fine now. Let's go back to the extrude command. And then I'm going to go to the advanced properties. I'll look at the taper. And on the drawing it says 95, right? So you can see that 95 is kicking me an error. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip it. Sorry, I wanted to change that to 5. And you can see now that that 5 degrees is actually bowing to the outside. If I change it to the 5 degree bowing to the inside, that's the one that I want. And the overall height of this one should be 25. So now you can see that that part is indeed going up, and it's 25 tapered in. 5 degrees tapered in. Go ahead and hit OK. Let's go ahead and use the mirror command. I'm going to select the feature that I want, which is the extrusion, or you can select the part here. And now I want you to take a look down here at your UCS icon here. You can see that I want to mirror this thing right along this plane, and the plane that is facing me is the XZ plane. Therefore, I can go ahead and directly select the XZ plane in here. So I'm going to go down the mirror plane, and then I'm going to select the XZ plane. You should see that it gives you the preview of it. Once you're happy with it, hit OK. Let's go ahead and take a look at this from the top. I'm going to rotate this around, and that should look a lot like my drawing now. Okay? So I know we did some kind of weird things in here and went back and forth, but I also wanted to show you some ways of editing and fixing some of your mistakes that you may come across, or trying to figure out why it's doing certain things. So if you put constraints on there early, don't be afraid to come back and delete them. And also, if you see something is not working, you may have to go back and modify your sketch. All right? So thank you for watching this one, and I'll keep doing and making more Inventor videos for you. And if there's something that you would like me to see, or want me to create, please feel free to leave me a comment, and I'll take a look at it and see if I can create it for you. Thank you for watching.